Coming up on Tech News today, Instagram turns the table on Twitter. Netflix and Disney find their happiest place. It's on Earth. And your phone bill is a video. All that and more coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Wednesday, December 5th, 2012. Tech News Today is brought to you by Pond5, the world's stock media marketplace. If you're a media maker looking for video, photos, illustrations, music, sound effects, After Effects templates, or 3D models, check out Pond5. And for an exclusive 50 free stock media files, go to pond5.com/TNT. And by Squarespace, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com and use offer code TNT12. And they recently launched a developer platform for complete code control. And by Lantronix, maker of the Xprint server. Print from your iPad, iPhone, or any iOS device to virtually any printer. For more information, visit xprintserver.com/twit and enter the code HOLIDAY2012 to receive 20% off on your order. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz, Akhtar.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And this is the show where we keep you up to date on the most important stories in the tech world, starting each time with the top 10 stories of the day in the news. Dead news. Wait for all that explosion to go out. Netflix struck a deal with Disney that will give them exclusive access to new movies from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Disney Nature starting in late 2016. Netflix also gets immediate access to back catalog movies from Disney as well as direct-to-video movies starting in 2013. The LA Times reports the deal will cost Netflix $300 million a year for 3 years starting in 2016.
Instagram has disabled the ability for Twitter to properly display Instagram photos on Twitter.com timelines and Twitter official apps. Twitter announced the changes via a status update on its website, explaining that Instagram had yanked access to Twitter cards. On stage at the web conference today, CEO Kevin Systrom of Instagram confirmed the changes, but said the two companies still have a good relationship and that this isn't because Instagram is now owned by Facebook.
When Eric Schmidt talks, people listen. This time, Google's chairman was talking to the Wall Street Journal and said it's, quote, extremely curious that Apple has chosen to sue Google's partners and not Google itself. Apple's obviously been suing a bunch of different companies, including Samsung, HTC, and Motorola over Android patents. Schmidt also said he expected the patent litigation to continue for a while. Other tidbits from the interview. Schmidt says that the new technology will take care of spectrum shortages. Google's still worried about Siri, and that Microsoft hasn't emerged as a trendsetter when it comes to its new operating systems.
You look like you just heard from Eric Schmidt.
I did.
The European Commission fined 6 electronic companies a total of 1.47 billion euros Wednesday for fixing prices of cathode ray tubes used in TVs and computer monitors. Philips, LG, and Panasonic paid the largest shares of the fine. Samsung, Toshiba, and Technicolor rounded out the 6. Executives from several of the companies plan to challenge what is the biggest antitrust penalty in the EC's history.
Nokia has announced the Nokia Lumia 620. That's the newest addition to its Lumia range of Windows Phone 8 phones. It's also the cheapest. It'll cost about $249. As for specs, the 620 has a 3.8-inch display, a 1 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus dual-core processor, 8 gigabytes of storage, 512 megabytes of RAM, a 5 megabyte rear camera. Nokia said that the phone will be available in the Asia-Pacific region, the Middle East, and Africa starting January 2013, followed by Canada and Europe.
Don't have the attention span to read your wireless bill? Well, never fear. AT&T has announced it's going to introduce customized video bills for UVerse and AT&T wireless customers starting in 2013. The video bill explains what you got charged for in a friendly manner. AT&T's video bills will be available in addition to the regular format bills.
As the 12-day ITU Fun Fest continues regarding updating the 1988 Treaty on World Telecom Cooperation, the U.S. and Canada made a valiant attempt to speed things up and get quick approval for a measure that would limit ITU rules to telecom operators and not internet companies like Yahoo and Twitter. The ITU, which moves at Ent-like speed, put off discussion of the proposal until Friday.
The California Public Utilities Commission, which oversees transportation regulation, has issued a 15-page proposal examining the legality of companies like Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar. It fined all three last month for all being in violation of state law. The new proposal outlines specific areas of inquiry that regulators should consider: public safety, ride-sharing, insurance, important stuff. Meanwhile, back in Washington, D.C., the City Council unanimously passed the Public Vehicle for Hire Innovation Amendment Act, which explicitly sanctions and regulates digital dispatch companies like Uber. Congrats, Uber.
Hey, congrats, Uber. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole issue of Korean family business practices. I'm just going to let you know that Samsung promoted 44-year-old J.Y. Lee to the job of vice chairman right after the celebration of his dad, Lee Kun-hee's 25th year as chairman. The stock market seems to like how things are going at Samsung, pushing the stock close to record highs.
I think the son's got DNA infringement there. Okay, so we got Amazon. It's got some really cool stuff coming up. FreeTime Unlimited has been announced for the Kindle Fire and the Kindle Fire HD. FreeTime Unlimited is a new subscription service that offers games, books, and videos aimed at kids. The service is independent from Amazon Prime, though. If you're a Prime subscriber, FreeTime Unlimited will cost you $3 per month per child, or you can pay $7 per family. Without a Prime subscription, the service costs $5 per kid or $10 per family. FreeTime Unlimited is rolling out to Kindle devices as a free over-the-air update in the coming weeks. And Amazon is offering a free 1-month trial to Kindle Fire and Fire HD users.
This episode of Tech News Today brought to you by Pond5, the world's stock media marketplace. We know a lot of you are media creators, and we know a lot of you have heard us talking about Pond5. They've been a great sponsor of lots of shows on TWiT like TNT. So you know you can get photos. You can get vector illustrations. You can get music tracks, sound effects, motion graphics templates, 3D models, and more. Those motion graphic templates are customizable, too. I mean, this is great stuff. Over 10 million professional quality stock media items at your fingertips, and all the content on Pond5 can be downloaded instantly for legal use in virtually any media production at the best prices anywhere. It's great for developers, for designers, film and video makers, all the audio and video assets you need to put together a movie. And if you're an artist, you'll love Pond5 too. They're shaking up the stock agency business with an open, artist-friendly marketplace for professional content. So you could sell your stuff on Pond5 and they give you control over the pricing. That's unheard of. Plus, they pay out 50% royalties for each and every sale. That's higher than most stock photo marketplaces. So as a result, the prices are unbeatable. The range of quality of the content is amazing. If you're a media maker or artist, check out Pond5, POND5.com. And you can make a short movie with this offer. This month, you can get 50 free stock media files by going to pond5.com/TNT. That's POND, the number 5.com/TNT. And get 50 free stock media files right now. And we thank Pond5 for their support of Tech News Today. Joining us now to discuss the news of the day, it's good to have Raj Deut, writer and contributor from Mac Talk and Macworld Australia, back with us. Thanks for getting up early, Raj.
No problem at all. Good to be back. Thanks for inviting me.
We have to do the obligatory "How is tomorrow?" Whenever we have an Australian guest on.
It's going well.
It's tomorrow.
It's just a day away.
It always is. Let's start with that Twitter-Instagram fight, Sarah Lane. You're at the Web. Kevin Systrom was speaking there. What's going on between those two?
Yeah, well, you know, this happened before Kevin Systrom got on stage, so it's sort of coincidental and sort of advantageous timing, at least to get a little bit more information from the CEO himself on what is going on. Now, if you use something like, I use TweetBot on my Mac and my iPhone, you might not even have noticed anything had changed because Instagram has pulled Twitter card support, meaning that if you're using something like the web version at twitter.com or one of Twitter's official apps, now Instagram photos are not appearing in line. Users of the web version of Twitter know that when you're looking at your timeline, you might see the little link "View Photo" on an Instagram link, and then it goes ahead and just and loads right there on the page fairly seamlessly. So that ended up starting to either not load for people. They had completely broken links. Sometimes the photos were loading and they were cropped weirdly. It didn't seem right. So right now, Kevin Systrom, CEO of Instagram, has confirmed, yes, we have pulled Twitter card support. However, we don't hate Twitter. The two companies have a great relationship. For example, if you upload a picture to Instagram, we're never going to remove the ability to auto-post that link to Twitter. What we want, though, and this is something that they rolled out recently, is Instagram.com. Instagram has its own web interface that's fully functional. It's not just permalinks to user pictures. My profile is, now at Instagram.com/Sarah Lane, and that's what Instagram wants to have front and center moving forward. So they're betting on the web version of their service as well as the mobile version, and I guess they just don't want it to be that easy not to visit them on the web. I suspect this has a lot to do with advertising down the road, and this is just the first step towards that. But again, Systrom said this isn't because Facebook bought us and Facebook hates Twitter. Maybe there's some truth to that. I'm not really sure. But again, like I said, this doesn't affect me because I use third-party apps. But what did you all think? Were you a little put out by this?
Where have I heard? Let's see. A company says we're not going to allow the access to our service that we used to allow because we want people to stay within the service. That's what Twitter has been doing to every developer, right?
Yeah. Honestly, this is very much something getting yanked from Twitter. And now you might recall Instagram and Twitter last month, I think it was as recently as Twitter yanked Instagram's ability to find friends using Twitter's API. When you signed up for Instagram service for the first time, it used to be that I could say, oh, yeah, let me hook up to my Twitter account, and then I could just easily follow all my friends that are both using Twitter and Instagram. Can't do that anymore. Again, you can post photos straight to Twitter, but Twitter did make Instagram's life a little bit harder as far as amassing a bunch of friends when you sign up for the service right away. So Instagram says this is not a tit-for-tat thing, but it sort of does feel that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, Raj, I mean, what do you think? They're not going after Facebook or Foursquare here.
No, I mean, it definitely, like, at first read, it does look very tit for tat. I guess, like Sarah was just saying, the big thing for me was losing that find friends feature, but that wasn't limited just to Instagram. I understand it was just that, like, API change. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very much about Instagram launching their own web portal this month, which kind of has a little bit of a Facebook 1.0 feel to me. But, it's about people getting back to their service and keeping them within that cloud environment that they don't want them going out to these things. But, again, it doesn't affect me either because I personally use third-party apps just like Sarah. So I wouldn't have even known that the change had happened had I not read the story about it late yesterday. So I think it's all, everyone's happy faces and smiling out in public, but behind the curtain, there's probably a little bit of vindictive nature behind there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like, okay, Facebook buys Instagram, you lose this little bit of functionality with Twitter, but like everyone is saying here, like I will just click the links anyway, and you're going to be sent out. I mean, this is the internet we're talking about. It's not like, oh, it doesn't expand. What do I do? You click a link and you go to another site. It's not that big a deal. It just, it does seem like Twitter, they lock things down. Instagram's going to lock things down for themselves, and we're going to just have hyperlinks instead of being stuck in one place all the time. So it's not so bad.
Liked it when Twitter added this functionality where I didn't have to click out to see images and things, but it's all in the game. Ken from Chicago, quoting the Wire there, and it probably isn't vindictive. It's just like, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If this works for Twitter,
there'll be Twitter shortened links now, though, won't they? So you get those little, like, Tico links or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Probably. Netflix is changing the game by making that big partnership with Disney that we mentioned, pay TV window deal. Now, this is different than what Netflix has done in the past. The LA Times reporting $300 million a year, so there's a lot of money to throw down to get access to movies the way that HBO and Showtime do. That window gives exclusive first-run access starting in 2016, late in 2016, to Pixar, Marvel, Walt Disney Animation, and Disney Nature Films. Brooks Barnes at New York Times reports that the deal does include Lucasfilm. It's just that Lucasfilm hasn't finished being acquired by Disney yet. It does not include DreamWorks, but Netflix has a separate deal with DreamWorks, similar to one they have with Relativity. So they already have early access to DreamWorks and Relativity stuff. They get the back access catalog now, as we mentioned, direct-to-video, which is what they used to call direct-to-DVD in 2013. But what Netflix has done is said, okay, Stars, you don't want to give us access to your Sony and Disney films by partnering and rebroadcasting, retaking your license. We'll compete with you. This is the Stars deal. Stars had the deal with Disney until 2016. And when that expires, now Netflix gets the deal. So Sarah, as a cord cutter, this has got to make you seriously happy because Netflix now is right there next to HBO, Showtime, et cetera, in bidding to get first-run movies after they've left that window of exclusivity for rentals and DVD sales.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It makes Netflix also appear powerful, and I think that was sort of a big question mark I think a lot of people have had about Reed Hastings and the company moving forward. It's sort of like, Netflix trudges along, got a good user base, making money, but it continues to have competitors. And really, what Netflix is probably most worried about is, those competitors. We still say now, well, it doesn't have the library that Netflix does, but that's going to that gap will continue to close as the Amazons, for example, start to get closer. But it makes Netflix seem like they've got some power in negotiating, and they're locking down pretty legit deals.
Yeah, Netflix is starting to resemble more and more a traditional content, like a channel like HBO or Showtime. They have their original programming coming. They have this Disney deal. And I got to say, Disney's really aggressive when it comes to their online stance. I mean, they've been online with Disney Interactive Group for a long time. And then they had the first deals with Apple and iTunes. And to put their stuff out on Netflix instead of going to HBO or Showtime or Stars, it's an interesting bet on the future. Because this is 2016. The broadband speed should be increased by then. And to some people, Netflix flat out is their cable replacement. They can just flat out see Disney movies earlier than they would have if they were on cable.
Now, Raj, you're in Australia. Obviously, you're not going to have access to the same deal because this is a U.S. deal for Netflix. Do you guys have any similar sorts of services out there that are making these sorts of internet-only deals with production companies, with studios?
Nothing this large. There's a new service out here called QuickFlix, which started exactly like Netflix, was a DVD rental service via mail, and is now doing sort of movie and TV streaming through your PS3 or online on the web and so forth. But nothing to the extreme that, no, that's not it.
That's not it. Yeah, I know. The second I took it, I was like, 2006.
Yeah. I believe they did partner with one of our free-to-air channels
here we go.
For a while, and that may still be continuing, but they're not producing their own. That's the one.
Yeah.
They're not producing their own content like Netflix are doing with the new Arrested Development series that everyone in the world can't wait for. And they're definitely not doing deals like this with movie studios, not that I'm aware of anyway. So, nice for you Americans to have these problems and things to talk about. But, not coming our way anytime soon. Netflix is over in the UK now, though, isn't it? It has expanded slightly.
Yeah, they are. They're moving out into more markets. They're in Canada. They're in Latin America. So, the intriguing thing here is 2016 is after the first Star Wars movie comes out. So if Lucasfilm is part of this deal, 2017 is when the second new Star Wars, Disney-created Star Wars is supposed to come out. So theoretically, they would be able to run that on Netflix. That would be a huge get for them. So we'll have to see how this plays out. However, Raj, so you don't feel left out, we're going to have a Telstra story. It's a Telstra horror story, right, Sarah?
Oh my gosh, it's such a horror story. It ends okay, but I'll tell you exactly what happened. So an Australian named Raiden Crawley was on vacation in Barcelona in Spain and got his phone stolen. So it's like, well, okay, that's a huge issue. So he went ahead and filed a police report, called Telstra, told them what happened. Telstra said, don't worry, if the thieves have used your phone in any way, as long as you give us a copy of the police report, we won't charge you. Well, turns out 2 weeks later, his credit card was charged to the tune of, wait for it, $27,853. That's a big phone bill. So it wasn't just a bill that he got. His credit card was charged. And I got to say, I'm a little impressed that he has
Had a limit,
a credit card that, I mean, you're doing pretty well, Raiden. But anyway, so it turns out ZDNet kind of broke down the charges, like, what happened here? Where did all that money get racked up? So it turns out while roaming, local calls, and this is Telstra's charges, so it's somewhat unique to them. Local calls are charged at an Australian $2 per minute. So calls to Australia are about $5.12 per minute. ZDNet said it took Telstra about 36 hours to actually shut down the SIM card after Crawley had reported the phone stolen. So that's already an issue there. But even if someone had been on a phone call from the moment the phone was reported stolen to the moment that the SIM card was shut off 36 hours later, it would not add up to almost $28,000. What happens is it's the data. Data is really expensive. In Spain, Telstra charges 1.5 cents per kilobyte, gets up to over $15 per megabyte. So you figure, okay, if it's a high quality movie or something that's over a gigabyte, a couple of gigabytes, I mean, that's the kind of money that you're looking at if you were actually going to pull that down from the internet on your phone. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, because of course I just enjoyed my own experience trying to get a local SIM card on my phone yesterday at a local carrier store, which is possible, but it's a huge hassle, and then I got to get a new French phone number and I got to pay for stuff that I don't even want. This case is, even though this was a theft, so obviously this is not something that was supposed to happen. This was a fluke. Raiden Crawley got all his money credited back to his account. But doesn't it seem a little ridiculous that if I were to download a high quality movie on my phone while I was roaming in France, being in the US most of the rest of the time, that I would get charged with something like that? Would I have to pay it? I mean, I'd go broke. I'd have to declare bankruptcy. Isn't the system pretty flawed?
Raj, this is a Telstra story. We'll let you go first.
Yeah, well, full disclosure, I don't know Crawley at all.
Okay, good. It's not that small of a country. We know.
No, it's not. No, despite what everyone else thinks. But on those lines, I am a Telstra customer. I used to work for the number 2 telco here in Australia for 7 years, Optus, who's the biggest competitor. And stories like this are sort of dime a dozen. It's not uncommon. He contacted Telstra via email to say that his phone had been stolen, which under Australian privacy laws, they can't really do anything about that. So the 36-hour window and everything like that is perfectly normal. I don't think Telstra should be chastised for that at all. And he was credited back his money. That wasn't an issue. I suppose the issue with roaming charges, as an Australian, once you go overseas, you do not use your phone. If you're getting a text message, that immediately costs you like $1.50 when you receive the text message from someone in Australia, plus including all the roaming charges and stuff like that. So local SIMs are the way to go. I know from traveling in the US and Canada, as soon as you land, I'm straight off to your whatever local store will give me a SIM, which has become a lot easier in the US in the last couple of years. Before, it was, you basically had to be a US citizen to get a SIM card out of AT&T or T-Mobile or any of those guys over there. But these days with services like H2O and I forget the name of the other one, but you can actually order it online and have it delivered to your hotel before you even arrive. So and in Canada, it's just a matter of walking into a Fido store or Rogers or something like that. So I guess I'm used to it because I've had to do it for the last 4 or 5 years every time I've gone overseas, and that's just the way things are. You kind of expect. The roaming charges are a lot less with our sister countries like New Zealand. So if you're traveling there, it's a little more. You still wouldn't use data. It's still going to cost you a fortune. But it's a hefty price to pay. As to whether you'd have to pay it, it depends on the company. It depends how what your billing records are like with them, and if they want to pursue you for that. But you are technically liable for that charge, and that's why the iPhone has features like disable data while roaming because of bills like this. a common occurrence. And the first 2 or 3 years of my career were dealing with going over caps and stuff like that when I was working for Optus. So I'm sort of used to seeing these inflated figures.
It's figuratively criminal that they charge this much for data. It's because they have a monopoly over you. When you leave the country, suddenly you can't use anyone else. And so they just charge you over the moon. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's a recent article that showed that the cost of roaming data is actually more than the cost of sending data to Mars by NASA when you include the cost of launching the Curiosity rover into space, getting it to Mars, and lowering it with a sky crane. That's still cheaper than your roaming data. Something is wrong. This is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the solution is don't ever roam. You know, and frankly, I think that's what the telecom companies want. They want you to not roam because they don't want to deal with those other companies that they have to deal with when you travel. Let's take a quick break and thank Squarespace, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio. Squarespace gives you and your website the best mobile experience when you create your website. It's the easiest way to create a website, and it creates a great-looking website. But they've also developed new templates with mobile-ready, responsive designs, meaning your site automatically restructures to look great on any brand, smartphone, tablet, or computer. When you add an image to your site, 7 different versions are created, so the correct size loads for the device, and your site looks professionally designed no matter how it's viewed. Squarespace is fast and easy to use, beautiful templates, 100% drag-and-drop functionality for all your customization tools, and it gives you better social media integration. Automatically import, sync, and publish to and from social media with just a few clicks, dynamically refreshing your site content and raising awareness in your social circles. You can use Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Foursquare, Dropbox, LinkedIn, Pinterest, StumbleUpon, the list goes on. It's exceptionally well designed, and it integrates all your website needs: domains, design, development, hosting, and customer support. So sign up for a free account right now. You don't need a credit card. Just try it out. Start building your website. And if you decide to purchase it, use offer code TNT12 and get 10% off your first purchase on new accounts. That's squarespace.com. Use that offer code TNT12. Everything you need to create an exceptional website. Show your support for TNT, and we thank Squarespace for their support of Tech News Today. Well, here's a way you can tell what your roaming charges are with just your eyes and not your fingers. Well, I guess you have to print play. AT&T has video bills?
Yeah, AT&T. I talked about this in news views. I think this is just a really kind of a strange story. So AT&T is going to be giving its customers video explainers of its bills for you versus AT&T Wireless. Now, each video is custom generated and uses your actual billing information. It's not like you're getting a generic video each time. In the video, the demo version even calls out the person's names, like, "Hello, Brian, and here is your bill," and it explains your one-time charges and things.
What if your name, like Iyaz, for instance, they have Iyaz recorded?
I'm sure it'll just be like, "Hello," and then it won't say any name at all. There's an animated explainer of each charge. It's got some, little cool music going around. It's got a lot of animations. The video bills are coming in early 2013. It's going to be in addition to the regular bill, so if you just want to read the old ones, you don't have to look at the video. You're not going to have to. Some people are already joking in the chat room that this will go against your data cap if you're watching the video. I bet it would.
Don't look at your bill while roaming.
Whatever you do, don't do that. AT&T has been testing this out, and it says that the video bill has resulted in fewer bill-related calls, and 85% of customers said they found the video bill helpful. Now, I think this is like the 3rd year in a row AT&T has finished like at the bottom of consumers' perception when it comes to customer service. Sarah, do you think this video bill is a good idea? Will an animated version of a $28,000 bill seem easier than an actual text-based one?
No, I'd be even more angry. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, if I got a $27,000 bill, nothing will help. Not even a video. This seems like an advancement in technology for a not good enough reason. I mean, a bill's a bill. What do I owe you? I've got online banking. I just plug in a number, I'm done. I don't want to see something fancy. I certainly don't want to download some video or, like stream some video on my mobile phone while I'm roaming, and end up getting charged more from this very carrier that's telling me what I owe them in the first place. I don't know. I don't mean to be Ebenezer Scrooge about AT&T or anything, but I don't feel like this is very cool.
Raj, what do you think? Do you think that getting an explainer video, it seems kind of Sesame Street-ish. It's like, we're going to handhold you through this and go, hey, here's your bill. Let me explain it to you. Because I know when I get my bills, my eyes glaze over. Is this kind of thing, do you think this kind of thing is going to catch on with other people?
I couldn't disagree with Sarah more. Having worked in the industry, this is absolute gold. If I got 90% of the customers that call in with billing issues and stuff like that, in my experience of working in a telco, if this type of service was around and they could just get a text message with a link and it would play, you knew that it worked on their phone, this would be absolutely amazing. To explain a lot of the charge, I mean, there's some customers are still going to call in. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to understand, or there's going to be an area of the bill which will be blown out, which could be because they were overseas roaming. But it's a really clever move from my point of view, and having worked in the industry for so long, this type of thing is all of what telcos are about, is trying to, or any large corporation that deals with customer service, bringing down the reliability on customer service staff, having to not offshore it because that's seen as a downside for the company that you're dealing with, and dealing with people who don't speak English as a first language. Any sort of gateway that they can put between people actually calling in, and if this is going to help that in some way, and it's all automated, so it costs them next to nothing once the system's there. This is fantastic. This will be, if this goes well for AT&T, I guarantee every telco in the country, in the world, will be putting this online within the next 12 months. It's absolute goldmine for customer service savings.
I hear what you're saying, Raj. However, maybe not having such baroque billing systems and intricate ways of charging you and wringing every possible nickel out of you would mean you'd need less customer support from telcos.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is treating the symptoms, not the disease.
I want to see this approach applied to everything. Any law change. I want an animated video customized. I want it to have like little calming music, kind of like Nintendo Wii music. That's what I want. Like, let's make this really easy to understand.
We should have this for EULAs, actually. You just insert a EULA into the site, and then it creates a nice little plunky video for you that explains it away
to you. All your rights, Jason. Maybe they could use it at the ITU debate, which are also still going on. Reuters reports U.S. and Canada, with support from Europe, proposed limiting ITU rules to apply only to telecoms, not companies like Facebook. It was a good attempt. Well done. Good try. Ambassador Terry Kramer from the U.S. said, "We want to make sure that the rewritten ITU treaty stays focused squarely on the telecom sector." That's what the T in ITU stands for. I added that. Kramer said, "We thought we should deal with that up front." So they put it before a committee of representatives from 6 regional bodies, hoping to get quick approval. They did not. It got put off until Friday. What happens next? Well, Friday they'll start debating that. They're going to debate all of these changes. The overreactions are happening fast and quick. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be worried about what might come out of here. But just because someone proposes something, and just because some proposal doesn't get immediate approval, doesn't mean that they're going to crack down. There's lots of crazy proposals. One proposal of particular concern would standardize deep packet inspection without any privacy safeguards, and a lot of people fear if that got approved, the privacy safeguards would be, that the deep packet inspection would be required to be built into every router, which would be absolutely awful. But as ITU Secretary General Hamadoun Touré told Reuters last week, any major changes to the 1988 treaty have to get consensus approaching unanimity. So what to be worried about is still to be decided. And this is a 12-day-long conference. Raj, have you been keeping an eye on this? How are folks in Australia feeling about the ITU treaty?
To be honest, I'm pretty ignorant about this one. So,
not a lot of outrage over in your neck of the woods, it sounds like.
I hadn't heard a lot. It's scary, and the media are going to grab onto those little snippets like the deep packet inspection. But in Australia, everyone's sort of lauding over the win for the downfall of our government mandatory filter that was being implemented. So that's being squashed finally after 4 years. So that's probably good. More forefront in the Australian mind. But I'm not speaking for everyone. That's just me personally. I haven't followed this one in great.
Sarah, I was going to ask you at Le Web, are people talking about this? I mean, it's happening in Dubai, which is not that far away relative to us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly closer than you are. Not a lot of chatter, at least not sort of public wringing of hands on what, how the internet might be destroyed, at least that I've heard. This all, I kind of honestly feel like this is all a little bit of reiterating, listen, if we make any changes, it has to be unanimous or near unanimous, whatever that means. I mean, 9 out of 10 kind of thing. Is that approaching unanimity? But yeah, this all pretty much seems reasonable. I mean, there are reasonable discussions happening, and nobody's going to do anything rash.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There are crazy proposals being put forth by authoritarian regimes, by companies who want to turn the internet into having a big complicated bill like these Telstra bills that we're talking about. But those proposals, while those proposals are frightening, it doesn't seem likely that they would get picked up.
I mean, well, these countries, at least they have to ask. At least, like, hey, could we pass this through? And there's no way that there's going to be a unanimous consensus when it comes to pretty much, I say, just like the lightest bit of regulation at all when it comes to this. Because the U.S. doesn't want to cede any control over the internet. That's like actually one of the leading growth markets in the U.S. is internet companies. So anything that's going to put any restraints on telecoms, Google, Facebook, all those kinds of things, the U.S. is going to fight like crazy every single time. So I mean, I don't think those totalitarian regimes are going to get their stuff through. We're going to see some really light regulation. But maybe the ITU should work on that whole global roaming thing. Maybe they could work on that.
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe we can standardize phones while we're at it.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up with a way to share data that helps people.
Sure, let's talk about Karma. Now, Karma launched its $79 hotspot data-only service. This was yesterday. Now, it's kind of like Freedom Pop, if you remember them. It comes with 1 gigabyte of Karma comes with 1 gigabyte of free bandwidth and is available for purchase at yourkarma.com. Every gigabyte after that costs $14. It never expires. So once you buy it, you have this data. And here's how this works. When you get the Wi-Fi hotspot, the hotspot is open. When new people use that hotspot, they get 100 megabytes for free once. So they can use it all in one sitting. They could use it on a different Karma hotspot. The owner of the hotspot also gets 100 megabytes of free data. So in theory, hotspot owner could leave their hotspot open all the time and get unlimited data by having people use their hotspot continuously. But what Karma does slightly differently is that they track data use by tying you back to a Facebook account. So you can see who was using your hotspot and see their Facebook profile. So it's kind of a strange one there.
Ew.
So on the technical side, it's running on Clearwire's WiMAX network at speeds up to 6 megabits per second. Freedom Pop also uses Clear, but it's switching to LTE on Sprint next year. Coverage in about 80 cities, 8 hours battery life, 8 connections at once. I'm kind of curious, will a hook to Facebook help Karma gain ground? Because if you are using a brand new hotspot and you don't know if Karma is legitimate or not, Sarah, if you saw a friend of yours was using Karma on Facebook, would you be more likely to use that service? Will it help it gain ground?
Yeah, maybe you could spread the word on Facebook, but I'm a little stuck on the whole, if I've got the hotspot, I can see who's accessing it via their Facebook profiles. That sounds like a really bad idea. I mean, is it supposed to be because it helps me feel safer? Like if there was somebody that was accessing it all the time and I was moving around a lot, I would know that they were near me? I don't get that. What's the point of, what's that about?
From what I understand about the Facebook tie, it's that way Karma can tell when that first person is using it for the first time. So they can't get 100 free megabytes a second time. So it's tied to your Facebook.
Yeah, but why do I get to see their profile?
Why do you? Because it's a strange thing in their dashboard that I saw. So I'm not really sure why you get to see it, other than
you only see the public version of their profile.
Yes, it's not like,
yeah, okay, all right.
You're not getting access to everything.
It would be like searching for them.
Anybody who uses your hotspot is now immediately your Facebook friend.
Yeah, okay. It's not like we're not saying it's that. Got it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I really like the idea of sort of sharing the Wi-Fi love, right? So I think, in essence, this is a neat idea. But anybody who doesn't use Facebook is just going to complain that it's just too tied in to that social network.
Tom, do you think there'd be like security concerns right away? Do you think people are going to see Karma hotspot and just start logging in and just not paying attention that maybe it could be like a man-in-the-middle attack? It just seems like a really scary thing.
Well, that's true of any. That's no different than any other hotspot. So, yeah, I mean, are there security concerns? There are no different security concerns with this than anything else. I want to make sure that if I am operating this hotspot, that I'm firewalled off from anybody else accessing it. But that just means following good security practices. So, yeah, I think this is a great idea. I don't like that it's hooked to Facebook because while I have a Facebook account, I don't really want to have to use it. And I feel like I'm getting dragged into using Facebook more often than I used to, partly because people are using it more, but also because there are things like this that require you to use Facebook to log in.
I think in the U.S. market, it seems pretty interesting to see these MVNOs pop up, do data only. There's Freedom Pop. There's also Karma. Raj, do you guys have any data only providers out there doing similar things, or is this something that would be new there?
Social bandwidth would definitely be a new thing for a telco or MVNO to do. There are services around, but they're all backed by the major telcos, so it's nothing particularly. It's not something that you couldn't get through one of them with a phone service as well, I suppose. But it's an interesting idea. But I guess the whole for us here in Australia, the idea of social bandwidth or like leaving your Wi-Fi open at home was more because it was a tactic for not getting in trouble if you were torrenting or something like that. That the idea of that my hotspot is open and I give free use to everyone that's near me, but this whole idea of having 4G services or LTE services here socially open is a brand new. I'd never seen anything like it before. It's kind of an interesting concept. Like I like the idea, but I just don't think we have the network saturation to pull it off.
All right, let's finish up with the randomizer.
Randomizer.
Raj, I feel like this episode was tailored to you. We got lots of telecom news. We had some Australian news. And our randomizer is about a swimming robot that just completed a journey from San Francisco to Australia, breaking a 9,000 nautical mile record record-breaking 9,000 nautical mile trip. The PAC-X Wave Glider. Did you know that this has arrived in your country?
No.
I hadn't either till I saw the story this morning.
Making waves in Australia.
A U.S. company called Liquid Robotics is behind the project, collecting data about the ocean's temperature, salinity, and the ecosystem. So a robot just swam the Pacific.
So like they just have like a recreational thing now? We're gonna have races with these guys as well?
I just got done saying they were collecting data. It's not just recreational.
It should be more recreational. I mean,
you're
robots,
arguing that it should.
They're working so hard. I mean, they're swimming in the ocean. It's hard out there. I mean, they got to collect data too. It's a lot of work.
It's kind of shaped like a surfboard with like a lower half.
It actually looks like some cast off of a ship. It looks kind of like an anchor or garbage. That's impressive.
That's one half of it. If you scroll there's that picture that's farther down.
Oh, there you go.
That top part looks kind of like a surfboard. And that's got the solar collector that powers it.
Imagine if, like, on cruise ships, all of a sudden on the sides of them, instead of, the little dinghy boats that they just have a bunch of robots. So when the ship goes down, you jump on the robot just takes you home.
I like it. Yeah. Women and robots first. Forget the children. No, I'm just all right, let's take a quick break and thank our last sponsor for today's show, but not least sponsor. This episode of Tech News Today brought to you by Lantronix. Whether you're at home or at your office, you need to be able to print. And a lot of times people want to print from their iPhone and iPad. How many times has that happened to you where you're like, I want to print this. Oh, wait, how do I do that? How do I get it off my iPad or my iPhone? Especially if your printer isn't AirPrint compatible. I mean, there's this thing called AirPrint. It makes it easy to print from your iOS device. But if your printer isn't AirPrint compatible, you're out of luck, right? No, actually, all you do is get the Xprint server from Lantronix, which enables wireless printing from any iOS device, your iPad, your iPhone, your iPod Touch. It eliminates the need to print through apps. You don't have to install any software. You don't have to email documents to yourself to print later. And it works with USB or network printers you already own, whether it's wired or wireless. I was really impressed by how easy this worked. I'm so skeptical with network printing. I plugged it in. I have a Wi-Fi printer. I went to my iPhone. I didn't install anything. I'm like, all right, I'm going to press AirPrint, see what happens. It printed. It printed just fine. So if this is something you need, you'll want to take advantage of Lantronix and the Xprint server. Print directly from the iOS native menu. The Home Edition is $99, supports up to 8 USB and 2 network printers. The Office Edition is $199 and supports up to 8 USB and unlimited network printers, and allows your USB printers to become network printers. Great for your home, great for your office, even works with large multifunction printers. So go to xprintserver.com/twit for more information and to buy. And we've got a special offer for the month of December. Use the code HOLIDAY2012. That's the word holiday and then the numbers 2012 to receive 20% off on your order. Remember, visit xprintserver.com/twit and at checkout, enter the code HOLIDAY2012. We thank Lantronix for their support of Tech News Today. And in advance, I'm going to thank Sarah for the calendar.
Oh, Tom, you're the best. Tomorrow, December 6th, Apple and Samsung are discussing post-trial motions and injunction requests in court. They just keep at it, don't they? Also tomorrow, Gadget is having a live event in San Francisco. So that's December 6th as well. You can go to gdgt.com for more information if you can possibly attend. Also tomorrow, the Neo Geo X Gold is getting released worldwide. It's the 20th anniversary of the gaming classic. Hey, look at that. Huh. Finally, Google Street View and Maps are coming to the Wii U in January 2013. Actually, there are a couple other things that are happening in 2013. Redbox Instance full launch is coming spring 2013. Not until spring 2013, I guess some people would think of it as. And Google I/O has a new date, May 15th through the 17th of next year. Mark your calendars.
All right. Lots. It's like feast or famine with the calendar these days. Let's see what's incoming.
Incoming message.
Got a voicemail regarding our discussion on self-driving cars the other day. Take it away, caller.
SoundCloud changed their interface here. It's messing with me a little bit.
Take it away, caller.
Yeah, no, it's not playing the way it normally does.
Caller. We had the story about SoundCloud changing their interface yesterday, Jason. You can't say you weren't prepared.
No, I'm hitting play. It's just, there we go.
AT&T crew, this is Dan from TopSairForwards.com. In yesterday's show, you were talking about self-driving cars and the unreliability of the Wi-Fi network. Do you think a solution where each vehicle is essentially a node, and then as you start getting towards that critical mass, the more vehicles that show up on the road, the more reliable the network will be, and the less chance it'll go down? Might not be a good solution for ramping up, but once you do get to that point where you get a lot of cars on there, it might provide a very, very reliable solution. Love the show.
That's a great point. I kind of skipped over the fact that you need to have that critical mass there, but it is a cool point that if we do get to the it's like mesh networking. Maybe actually this solves the bandwidth issue. This solves the spectrum issue. We get a lot of cars on the road with Wi-Fi going. They can just start passing packets. They can work like moving nodes.
Well, that's one way to do it. We also got an email about the self-driving cars. Self-driving, this is from William. He's in the University of Tulsa. He says, self-driving cars that communicate over wireless sort of scares me. I'm a freshman at the University of Tulsa, and in our computer science freshman orientation class, one of the presentations included that they already have been able to use the wireless systems already in the car to gain control of the vehicle. It seems to me like it would only become easier to cause a problem if the malicious user only had to fake data, which would be sent to the target rather than breaking into the system and overriding the controls. The CS department owns an old mechanics garage just off campus where they work on hacking these car systems in order to make them more secure.
Yeah, and we talked about this when we talked about this story. There are going to be security concerns anytime you network something. That's not a reason not to network something. It just means it's a reason to take very seriously security when you set it up. And we have networked power companies. We have networked nuclear power plants, And
we also have like cell phones, which are always connected.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like if we can get over that security hurdle, maybe your cars can be secure.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Tech News Today. Raj Deut, thank you so much for joining us. Let folks know about Mac Talk and anything else you got going on, where they can find you online.
You can find anything at mactalk.com.au. You can follow me on Twitter at Raj Deut. Thanks for having me.
RAJDEUT. No, we really appreciate you getting up early. We know how early it is for you guys over there.
Yeah, and recovering from a cold. So, pulling out all the stops.
What a trooper.
We'll feel better. You can find us in our subreddit, technewstoday.reddit.com is a place where you can submit stories, and we look at that to decide what we're going to have on the show each and every day. You can find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us. Our email address is our email address is not our phone number. Our email address is tnt@twit.tv. Our phone number, if you want to leave a voicemail like we had today, 260-TNT show. And of course, you can always watch tomorrow's show tomorrow when we have it up. In fact, Ewan Rankin from British Tech is going to be on the show, and then we're going to be on his big show right after it. It's a big crossover event. Tune in. See you then.